12-4 run with complimentary plays after a 2-0 sweep yesterday. And by the way, that doesn't even include me telling you the LA Kings were going to win game number 1 last night, and I thought the NHL Finals as well. But congratulations going out to Chris Jordan, who cashed in yesterday with the first ever top-rated 1,000-star play of his 32-year career. And you got it for just $9, the winner on the LA Kings in overtime last night. So props to Chris Jordan. Now listen, coming up later in this video report, I'm going to go ahead and break down game number 1 between the Heat and the Spurs. Plus, I've got an early baseball action play for you on the afternoon contest between Philadelphia and Washington. That's coming up in just a moment. Of course, the big focus tonight, the start of the NBA Finals. And that leads me to a quick story for you. You know, I've mentioned to you in the past I spent 8 years or so as a working journalist, TV, radio, managing editor of a national sports wire service. I mean, I coordinated the coverage of a couple of Olympics. Covered every single boxing big event, I think, of the 80s. And hell, I even coordinated the coverage and took care of covering the America's Cup. I've never been on a sailboat in my life. Do I look like a sailor to you? But it was cool. It was fascinating. One of the coolest things I've ever covered ever as a reporter. So I've certainly been around the block. But the first time that I actually got in a locker room was back in college. I happened to get this great internship with this cable TV outfit in Philadelphia, which eventually turned into Comcast. And they were starting this brand new sports program, which was kind of like a mini sports center. But you got to remember, ESPN back in this time period was in its infancy. So Sports Center wasn't the monster that it is today. So they were doing something like that on a local basis. And they had hired Jim Gray to be the host of the program. And Jim was like probably a year older than me. How he lived without me killing him is beyond belief, because what a pain in the ass he was. But that's a story for another video, and I don't want to waste your time like he wasted mine. So we move on, and but it was fascinating from this standpoint. Suddenly, here I am in college, a kid who had collected all these basketball, baseball, NHL, football cards of all these players, and I'm there almost every single night covering the Flyers and covering the 76ers, and I'm thinking, I would pay them for this job, okay? I mean, it was like nirvana. I'm in there, I'm working as a cameraman, I'm working as an editor, working as an associate producer, and I mean, I'm there. Pre-game, post-game, everything, courtside, during the game. That was, by the way, one of the greatest perks. You know, you'd work the pregame show, you'd sit around, and it was a different era back then. There was no Twitter, there were no blogs, there was no internet. So basically, if the game was at 7:30 at night, generally all the reporters from the home and the road teams would show up. You do the pregame buffet like 2 hours beforehand, and everybody would just sit around and shoot the crap. You know, they'd sit around and talk, and I'd be there, youngest guy in the room, going, oh my God, I read all these guys. These are some of like my writing idols, and listening to them and talking about their experiences and stuff. I learned more about sports from them than anything else in my life. But then you'd go and do the pregame show, and then after the pregame show, you'd go sit courtside at whatever seat was available, and you watch the damn games. So you can imagine, we got to the NBA playoffs, and the 76ers had Andrew Toney, had Julius Erving, had Darryl Dawkins, Caldwell Jones, Clint Richardson, Mo Cheeks. I mean, it was a powerhouse team, a perennial playoff contender. First round of the playoffs, I think they got rid of the Hawks, and it was the Bucks, then the Celtics, Larry Bird. Oh my gosh, you know, I'm in the locker room and stuff, and that was cool. But then we get to the NBA Finals. A couple years earlier, Magic Johnson stepping in for the injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, plays center, leads the Lakers to the big series win. Well, this was the year the 76ers were going to get revenge, right? Well, it didn't work out that way. But being in the locker room, then suddenly there's Kareem, there's Michael Cooper, there's Magic Johnson. I'm going, oh my God. You know, again, as a young kid, if you're excited when you go to a ballpark and you catch a foul ball, if you're excited when you're at a ballpark and one of the players that you've always idolized happens to, you know, wave at you or, you know, come near and give you an autograph or something, imagine me suddenly there night in, night out, covering the playoffs, etc., with all these, you know, future Hall of Famers. So it was an interesting thing, needless to say. So we got the NBA Finals starting here tonight, and I happened to find an opportunity to repeat a special offer that I made available to you a couple of days ago, because I saw today that there were 3 particular handicappers that had monster plays, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to get them at all drastically reduced prices. Now listen, did it work out a couple of days ago when I did this? No, because 2 of the 3 handicappers lost. But after all, this is gambling and there are no guarantees. But I thought, especially with the NBA Finals getting underway tonight, why not try it once more? So you buy 1 handicapper's play today. And you get the plays of 2 other handicappers today. Their plays for Thursday's action, whether it's basketball or baseball, you get them absolutely free. You make your initial purchase, and then you contact customer service and you let them know the other 2 handicappers that you want to get. Now, it's buy one handicapper and get the plays of 2 other handicappers of equal or lesser value for free. But what I did was I went into every single one of these handicappers, rearranged their entire pricing structure. They're going to be pissed off beyond belief. What a pain in the ass this is, by the way. You better appreciate this work. But I went in, jury-rigged all their prices and stuff, made the guys that had the big plays, and I'm going to tell you about here in a minute, all the same price, so you really don't have to worry about the equal or lesser value. But listen, the choice is yours. However, you might want to consider Jeff Benton, 3rd ever 200-dime basketball play of his career going tonight, okay? And actually, it's not even in the NBA. This is of any sport. 3rd ever 200-dime release. Heat Spurs, game number 1. First 200-dime winner was the Pacers. Pacers over the Heat when they upset them in game number 1. The second one was Heat over the Pacers in game number 3. You got both of them as a half-price play of the day. Today is even better. So maybe you want to consider this from Jeff Benton. Another guy, Scott Delaney, not dealing with the NBA tonight. Tonight, his biggest release of the entire baseball season, 150-dime interleague game of the year, St. Louis and Kansas City. And he just hit his 4th straight 100-dime winner, in fact, Tuesday in baseball with the Indians over Boston, a play you got as a half-price play of the day, I believe. So you might want to get that. Anthony Redd has his 100-dime basketball winner number 11 out of 14, the Heat Spurs series play, plus he has a bonus play tonight, 70-dime winner number 5 out of 6, the Heat Spurs total. He went 6-1 in the NBA Finals last year, including a 4-0 sweep with his total plays. So maybe you want those 3 handicappers. Well, you can get them all for one single price. Again, buy one handicapper, get 2 free. Make your initial purchase, contact customer service, let them know I bought so-and-so, I want the plays of so-and-so and so-and-so added to my account. They generally do this within 5 and 10 minutes. Just be patient because you can imagine the type of response. They get overwhelmed today. And again, you don't have to buy Benton, Delaney, and Anthony Redd. Gabriel DeFont, 2nd biggest baseball play of the season, 80-dime play. Myself, 2nd ever 20-dime play in my career in the NBA. First one was the Spurs in the first half of game number 5 against Portland. To me, the best bet tonight is the Heat Spurs play. And I also have a bonus play in the NBA length of series play. You have the choice. And if you have any questions whatsoever, you contact customer service, especially if you're listening to me and at the site you're on, you're going, well, Jesus, Scott Delaney isn't at this site. Where am I going to find him? Trace Adams isn't at this site. Where am I going to find him? Guys, again, contact customer service will point you in the right direction. FYI, speaking of Trace Adams, 777 triple play, his 2nd biggest NBA play of the season, raised the bar 1,500-star NBA Finals total of the year, Spurs Heat over-under. Normally, a 1,000-star play is his top-rated selection. He's won 10 of his last 15. This one is bigger. It matches his 1,500-star play he had on game number 6 on Saturday with the Spurs outright at Oklahoma City, a play that you got as the half-price play of the day as he goes for winning day number 15 out of 24. You get it for $7.77 simply by using the coupon code TRACE77. TRACE777. Oh, by the way, it just dawned on me today. Just dawned on me as well that the $9 play today, that happens to be me. Yes, me. So, again, my 2nd ever 20-dime NBA release, your series play, plus a length of series bonus play. You get it for $9 by using coupon code DeMarco9. DeMarco9. Let's talk about game number 1 here tonight. As I've told you many times in the past, generally in game number 1 of any particular series, I like to kind of stay on the sidelines because I believe game number 1 to me, to give you an analogy, would be like watching a championship bout between 2 very good boxers, how they feel each other out in the opening rounds. And that's what game number 1 to me is, because I think if you watch game number 1 without your money on either side for the opener, I think it gives you a much clearer picture of how the series will play out, and it affords you more opportunities to enhance your winning percentage in future games in the series. And I know that sounds strange perhaps, and I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, but you might be giving up an opportunity to win money in game number 1. Well, it is a 50-50 proposition, and the way I look at it is unless I'm absolutely in love with the game, I'd rather bypass it and look to make my money later in the series. Well, in this particular case, I'm looking at the price of this game and I'm seeing 4.5. And listen, at 3.5 or 3, I'm all over San Antonio. At 4.5, I think the Spurs are the play here tonight. I think. Listen, Miami certainly laid an egg in game number 1 against the Indiana Pacers, right? Same thing happened here tonight? I don't know necessarily, but I think the Spurs here tonight come out very focused and very determined, especially since in their minds, and I think in a lot of NBA fans' minds, they totally collapsed last year, and they know it, and they realize that they could have had the ring last year. This is the rematch, and I think that they're going to come out with an energy that they may not be able to match the rest of the series, but they come out and they play some explosive basketball here tonight, and this is a team that is absolutely dominated at home in the postseason. I think they get the job done. And it's an interesting dynamic here between the contrast and the styles of play, because the Heat obviously are going to get the job done trying to put the clamps on the Spurs defensively. And you saw what a good job the Heat did with their team defense in terms of denying the Indiana Pacers the ability to get their ball down low to their big men, West and George and Hibbert. Now, of course, the Pacers had lousy guard play with George Hill and Lance Stevenson and Evan Turner, etc. The Spurs obviously have a huge advantage there with Manu Ginobili often playing the point and with Tony Parker. But Parker, he says he's going to play. He's had 5 days off since re-spraining that ankle that he hurt back in the Portland series, I think it was. How effective will he be tonight? Yeah, a lot of other questions in this particular game. I mean, Chris Bosh was basically a non-entity offensively in the Pacers series. Will he be able to deliver tonight? Because let's face it, you need Bosh, if you're a Miami fan here, to definitely put some moves on the offensive end of the floor to keep Tim Duncan playing honest. Of course, you got the Spurs here that can bring out Boris Diaw, you can bring out Kawhi Leonard on James, or, you've got such an ability for the Spurs because of their depth to play either big or small ball. So I think there's a lot of variables here, especially going into game number 1. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at the 4.5-point line, and if I had to play it, I would go with San Antonio because, again, I think that the energy and the excitement that they will have will be unmatched in the rest of the series that they will have in game number 1 here this evening. And you've got the revenge motivating factor as well. And when I think about how the Heat just absolutely laid an egg in game number 1 against Indiana, I can see the same thing going tonight. But truth be told, as I pointed out earlier, I really wish that this was a 3.5-point line rather than 4.5, because obviously the public is thinking the exact same way as I am in this particular contest. So I will go with San Antonio, even acknowledging the fact as well that Tony Parker may be less than 100%. And let's face it, they need Parker to be so effective here, because where do the Spurs have the biggest advantage in this game? Well, do you want Mario Chalmers? Do you want Norris Cole? Or would you rather have Ginobili and Parker on your side when it comes to backcourt playing, controlling, and dictating the tempo of the offenses? I know which way I'm going, and I think you're in the same bus as I am. Now, listen, your baseball free selection. A couple of nights ago, I went with the Washington Nationals in their series opener against Philadelphia on the run line and picked up an easy 7-0 win behind Jordan Zimmerman. Yesterday, I gave you the Nationals as a free pick with Steven Strasburg on the hill, and they won 8-4 as a run line selection. Both of those plays were run line picks, and I got to come right back and give you another run line play, this time on the Nationals. Some places are getting plus $1.05. Most places it's even money against the Phillies. Today, going with Doug Fister. Fister, I thought it was a steal when they got him from the Detroit Tigers. And, of course, he started the season on the injured list, and his first start out of the blocks was not that impressive. But since then, the Nationals have won all 4 of his starts, and they certainly have supplied him with plenty of offensive support, which is kind of ironic considering that Washington has been an inconsistent offensive team. But in those 4 starts, all team wins, they've scored a total of 29 runs. And this is a guy that in like 25-some innings so far this season has struck out 23 and walked only 2. So with that type of control, that's the type of pitcher you want to look for, plus a guy that gets that type of offensive support when you're going to play him on the run line. And that's why I think Washington is such a strong play. Listen, Kyle Kendrick pitched well and ended like a 10 or 11 game losing streak in his last start. Big deal. This Phillies team has shown you absolutely nothing. Nationals have won 11 of the last 13 at home in this series. The Phillies have lost 19 of their last 28 games overall. This is a dead team right now, and I think that you got to keep beating the dead horse that is Philadelphia and keep going against them. So I would go ahead and lay the 1.5 with the Nationals as your other free selection. Well, guys, that'll do it. Best of luck to you all, and I will catch you again on Friday morning when we do this one more time.